Welcome to another edition of the Mizzou Minute. I'm Tod Palmer, beat writer for the Kansas City Star, and this is the Missouri men's basketball postmortem edition after the regular season came to an end Saturday with an 89-78 loss at Auburn. It's the 35th straight road loss and 32nd in a row in SEC play for the Tigers. It also makes them 7-23 on the season, which ties not only the program record but also the all-time SEC record for most losses in a season. Missouri set that record 2 years ago during Anderson's first season and has matched it and almost certainly will break it, because at this point the only way they could not break it would be to either ban themselves from postseason play before Wednesday or win the national title, neither of which is expected to happen. So a 24th loss is almost certainly coming, but it's inconsequential at this point. I mean, Missouri could go on a run to the SEC tournament championship, and I'm not sure that would change what is coming this week. And that is likely to be that we've seen the end of Kim Anderson's run at Missouri. And look, I know there are some people out there that still think he's a young Norm Stewart. And that he's going to turn things around if you just give him time. I'm not sure that 95% of people who watch basketball and care about Mizzou basketball agree with that assessment. Most importantly, I don't think Jim Sterk agrees with that assessment. Beyond that, there's another debate to be had about whether Norm Stewart, had he been hired at this time as opposed to the late 60s, would have been able to have the success he had, whether his personality would work in today's college basketball climate. But I digress. We're not going to get into that today. We're just going to talk about Anderson. And the standard for him has always been progress. At least that's what it was under Mack Rhodes. It's reasonable to assume that's what it is under Jim Sterk now. We haven't seen enough of it. In fact, I think you could argue this season was a regression. They went 2-16 in conference after going 3-15 both of his first two seasons. They had another 13-game losing streak, which tied the program record from 2 years ago. Most damning to me, though, is the non-conference losses to North Carolina Central, Eastern Illinois, and Lipscomb. Missouri, for all its struggles the first two seasons under Anderson, hadn't taken those kind of losses. And it's very apparent to anybody who's being objective that from an athletic standpoint and from a talent standpoint, Missouri's roster is far and away the worst in the Southeastern Conference. We're 3 years in, and we're still saying that this team virtually has no chance to compete night in and night out. We've seen it in the road games. We've seen it in the fact that they only own 2 wins away from Mizzou Arena in Anderson's tenure. And so the writing's on the wall. It has been on the wall for a very long time that Missouri's probably going to begin a coaching search at some point in the next week. And some people will celebrate that. Other people are just going to have to get used to that. I don't think it's anything to cheer necessarily, because Kim Anderson is a good man. And I promise you, whoever they hire will not care more about making Missouri successful than Kim Anderson did. But it didn't work out. And Kim Anderson is a grown man. He's been a coach and been around the sport of basketball long enough to understand that it's a bottom line business. And the bottom line is winning games. Is selling tickets and putting a product out there that people want to come see, that people want to come support, that can rally the alumni base to get excited about their alma mater. And he hasn't done a good enough job of that in the last 3 years. I think he would be the first to tell you that. And that's where Missouri is. There's no point really in dissecting the game because Missouri, quite frankly, dug themselves a big early hole like they've been wanting to do. They never gave up, which has, again, been the MO for the team this season. But they never seriously threatened Auburn, just like they haven't seriously threatened most teams in the second half of games. It never got closer than 7 points after halftime. And really, it's not an unexpected result. So Missouri marches on to the SEC tournament. They'll play Auburn again. Barring an upset in that first round game, the season will end on Wednesday, and then we'll await news of Kim Anderson's fate from there. Anyway, kids, hope you have a good week, and be kind to each other. Take care.